Hello, Ram fans, and welcome to another edition of the Fordham Women's Basketball Ram Roundup. I'm joined by head coach Stephanie Gaitley. As always, Coach, somehow we're already double-digit games into the season, 10 games, before a little bit of a respite here in the holidays. We were just talking off camera, 5-5 on the season. Is this kind of where you expected with such a tough schedule out of conference?
You know, it's funny. If you had told me to be 5-5 at this point, I'd probably be very excited. But then seeing how we played at Washington, I think there's a couple games that we could have stolen and could have been like 7-3. You know, so I mean, there are the games like the Pitt games, Northeastern games that we got to learn from, and learn to finish off, especially on the road.
And since I last talked to you, it was a run to the championship game of the Gulf Coast Classic, taking down Ball State and Washington, falling to number 10 in the country, Texas, leading them early on. It was a very great experience down in Florida. What do you think that experience did for the kids?
You know, I mean, to be honest, we came back and we were playing really well. So I was kind of disappointed how we responded in our next game to Georgetown, because I just don't think we played to the level of what we proved down in Florida. I thought Florida was a great confidence booster. And then the way we responded on the road. Now, part of that might have been fatigue, just because, you know, a lot of games in a stretch, and then, bam, we got hit with the Manhattan game, and again, rivalry game. So I'm going to attribute some of that to fatigue. So, you know, hopefully we can take some of the things that we did in the Pitt game and carry them forth.
Are you looking forward to having this extended break? Only 2 games in 10 days? Because over that stretch with the Georgetown game, that was 4 games in 6 days, including all the travel. Are you looking forward to a little bit of a break?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the kids, as they get ready for finals, I think sometimes, you know, especially we have a lot of young kids, you know, finals has a tendency to play some mind games with you. So we play a solid Columbia team tomorrow, and then we have to go and play at Iona, who knocked off GW there. But I think the rest is good because, one, it gives us an opportunity to work on some things we got to improve on.
We've talked a couple times. You've mentioned this. You've phrased it that to win these games, these tight games, you got to put in a full 40-minute effort. And there's been definite flashes, definite full 40-minute games with like Washington, good games. What is it going to take to consistently get to that 40-minute mark?
You know, it's going to take, like we talked about in practice, you know, I'm very demanding right now. I said to them in the huddle just now, like, there's going to be days you walk out here not liking me because I'm going to be hard on you. Guess what? There's days I walk out not liking you. You know, that's what a family is. You know, that's how you work on getting better. So I'm going to continue to challenge them because I think this team is capable of doing great things. So I'm going to demand it in practice so that the result is it shows up in games.
One definite positive we can take away from the early portion of this game is the ball handling, the limiting the turnovers. Tops in the country, have been for a couple weeks now. What has been so key? I mean, it's a very young squad with a lot of underclassmen handling the ball for the most part. What has worked for them?
It's funny, you know, because it's not as if we're doing anything we haven't done in the past. You know, we hold accountability. You know, you do sprints if we hit a certain amount of turnovers. It might be, you know, again, Lauren's a senior, Bree had a year of experience. Could be that. Our 3-guard is a better ball handler, and Kenny. You know, last year we went big. It could be a little bit of everything. You know, my biggest concern right now is the defensive end. I think you know, right now this team has not figured it out defensively as far as like little details and things of that nature. So until we get that down, that's probably the biggest hurdle we got to face.
And lastly, since we last talked, back-to-back Player of the Week awards. Firsts for Bree Kavanaugh, and the next week is Mary Goulding. I'm going to talk to Mary in a few seconds, but let's talk about Mary, your senior co-captain. What impact she has had this season, averaging almost near a double-double, and missed that one game, and her absence was kind of noticeable. What does she bring to the team?
I mean, Mary brings toughness. You know, she's a kid that takes great pride in her performance, and she's a team player. And I think, you know, obviously in the Georgetown game, it affected us not only in the toughness but also in our rotation. So now you're short in that rotation. And then she was a difference maker in our Charlotte game, which resulted in her being the Player of the Week. But I think for Mary, I just need her to be more consistent down the stretch. I mean, Pitt, there was in the fourth quarter, she struggled. And I don't mind struggling missing shots, but if you have 4 turnovers in the fourth quarter individually, that's not good. So that's where Mary's kind of cleaned it up, just kind of keep it simple, you know. And she's capable of doing it because I've seen her do great things. So I know that's going to improve, and I have a lot of faith in her.
All right, thank you, Coach, and good luck tomorrow night.
All right, thanks. Go Rams.
I'm now joined by senior Mary Goulding. Mary, your first career weekly award, A10 Player of the Week a couple weeks ago. Big week, big fourth quarter performance against Charlotte. What did that award winning that mean to you?
I think, to be honest, I was very surprised. I got a text from one of the coaches saying congratulations, and I was like, wait, for what? And yeah, I was lost for words. I was very, very humbled and just really stoked to receive that award. But I mean, ultimately it comes down to the team. You know, I could never get that award without the team, without the coaches. So really it's kind of like a team effort.
Since that week, you've had a ton of games packed into a tight schedule. You guys made a run to the championship game of the Gulf Coast Classic. You played at Georgetown. 4 games in 6 days. Are you looking forward to this holiday break where you have 2 games in like 10 days, or you just want to keep playing?
I think it's a bit of both. You know, it's nice to have like a little bit of a break, but the thing is that now we don't have school. So you'd think that we don't have the stress of work, so you actually can have game, practice, game, whereas this is the time that we actually have a break. But I mean, at the same time, I think it'll be good for our bodies. Our bodies have a little bit of a rest, recover, and then just come out guns blazing for conference.
I didn't even consider that. That's a huge deal, not having class to worry about.
Yeah.
And lastly, Coach has been talking about, there's been some great wins, making the run to face Texas in the final, beating Ball State and Washington. But Coach has been preaching the need to consistently put together a full 40 minutes rather than just some, here and there. What do you think is key for this team to get to that point, to consistently play a full 40-minute game?
I think it'll come down to just listening to the coaches ultimately, because if we trust them, they've done the scout, they've been coaching for many years. If we trust them and focus on the details that they've told us to focus on, we'll be able to put it together. It's just, having that mental focus, the toughness of being okay, I'm going to, take what coach has said and put it on the court, as opposed to kind of in the moment being oh, you know what, I think I should do this. So it's just it's the trust in the coaches, and yeah, just really coming in focused. And I think we can do it. I know we can do it. So yeah, we'll see if we do tomorrow.
Yeah, very well said. And thank you for joining me, and good luck tomorrow against Columbia.
Cheers. Thanks.
That'll do it for another edition of the Fordham Women's Basketball Roundup. The women's basketball team in action tomorrow night. Doubleheader here at the Rose Hill Gym with the men's basketball team. Fordham taking on Columbia at 6 p.m. and then a half hour following the completion of that game. The men will take on NJIT. Both games will be streamed on ESPN+. And then a bit of a break until December 21st, next Friday, at Iona. It's a noon game. That should be on ESPN3. And keep an eye out for the Stephanie Gaitley show. Should be making a return to the airwaves. Should be on BronxNet online. There'll be more details to be announced at Fordham WBB on Twitter and FordhamSports.com. As always, thanks to head coach Stephanie Gaitley and Mary Goulding for joining me. And we hope to see you at the Rose Hill Gym tomorrow night, Tuesday night, against Columbia.